The beginning of the film shows us in an apartment in Korea. A person named Kim Ki-woo is searching for signal. This is followed by his sister Kim Ki-jung, then their mother Chung Suk, and finally their father, Kim Ki-taek. Their life appears simple. Their daily job is folding pizza boxes for very little pay, struggling to meet daily needs and facing weekly fumigations. The pizza manager comes to inspect the boxes they made, which are not up to standard, and decides to cut their wages. Their mother is unhappy about this, unlike their father, who is very patient. The two smart children manage to turn the situation around and earn their wages without deductions. They celebrate this small victory. A friend named Min, who works as a private tutor, stops by and brings a gift for Ki-woo from his grandfather. Ki-woo's family happily accepts the gift and discusses the well-paying job of a private tutor. Min asks Ki-woo to replace him while he studies abroad and to look after his girlfriend until he returns. The job is perfect for Ki-woo, but he lacks the necessary credentials. Min suggests that Ki-woo forge them, and Ki-jung, skilled in Photoshop, creates a fake diploma that looks real. The next day, Ki-woo goes for an interview at a grand and luxurious house, greeted by the housekeeper, Moon Gwang. He is interviewed by the lady of the house, Yeon Gyo, who asks to see how Ki-woo teaches on his first day. This is Da-hye, the daughter of the Park family, whom Min had asked Ki-woo to look after until he returns from abroad. Yeon Gyo, impressed by Ki-woo's professionalism, pays him in advance. Soon after, the young son Da-song emerges from his room. Yeon Gyo shares a bit about Da-song with Ki-woo, mentioning that no art teacher has lasted more than a month with him. Ki-woo recommends his sister for the job, claiming she studied art abroad and would be perfect for it. The next day, Ki-woo and Ki-jung arrive at the Park house. Da-hye develops feelings for Ki-woo, which makes Ki-jung, sitting next to Ki-woo, jealous. Ki-woo continues teaching, aware of the jealousy between them, and begins a romantic relationship with Da-hye. Mrs. Park introduces Da-song to Ki-jung, but unlike with Ki-woo, Ki-jung asks her mother to wait downstairs, making her anxious. Later, Ki-jung and Da-song come down to the dining table, and Ki-jung sends Da-song back upstairs while she talks with Yeon Gyo. Ki-jung shows a painting made by Da-song, impressing Yeon Gyo with her knowledge of psychology and understanding of Da-song's character, leading to a higher pay for teaching him. Then the father, Dong-ik, arrives home from work, and Yeon Gyo introduces Ki-jung to him as Da-song's new art teacher. An exhausted Dong-ik asks the driver to take Ki-jung home. Ki-jung realizes something and plans to employ her father. She slips her underwear into the car to frame the old driver. She asks her father if he has ever driven a car before, and the trap is swallowed by Mr. Park. He shows his wife the underwear found in the car, which angers them towards their driver, suspecting him of being perverted. They fabricate a reason to fire him. Ki-jung, eavesdropping on the stairs, pretends to come down and meet them. Her mother escorts her home, mentioning that the previous driver who drove Ki-jung no longer works for her husband. Hearing this, Ki-jung immediately recommends a middle-aged driver, the right fit for the Park family, which Mrs. Park accepts, wanting to meet him. While waiting for the call, Ki-woo and his father study the Park family's car. Ready to meet Mr. Park, the father arrives at his office and is immediately tested in driving by Mr. Park. Impressed with his driving skills, Mr. Park hires him as his driver. Ki-jung looks for a way to displace the Park family's housekeeper, which is difficult because she has served the family for a long time, and was the housekeeper even before the Parks moved in. Ki-woo learns that the housekeeper is allergic to peaches and spreads peach powder on her, causing her to have a reaction and go to the hospital. Intending to remove her, the father informs Mrs. Park that the housekeeper has tuberculosis, instilling fear for her children's safety. Mrs. Park, seeing her housekeeper coughing, decides to fire her on the spot. The housekeeper leaves the house. Mr. Park, worried about the state of the house without a maid and no one to cook for his family, sees an opportunity. Ki-woo's father offers a business card from a maid agency that can be employed in their home. All this is a strategy by the Kim family to replace all the workers in the Park house with themselves. Mrs. Park contacts the agency's phone number, which turns out to be Ki-jung. Mrs. Park, unable to manage the house, must hire a housekeeper. Ki-woo's mother takes over as the Park family's housekeeper, and their house returns to normal with the new assistant. The problem begins when Da-song realizes that the entire Kim family has the same smell. The rock given by Min brings luck to the Kim family, but cannot change the state of their house, which is always urinated on by drunk people. When the Park family goes camping and leaves the house for a few days, the Kim family treats the Park house as their own. They get drunk in the house. Later, the former housekeeper comes and rings the bell, saying she forgot something in the basement and intends to retrieve it. They let her in. Her prolonged stay downstairs makes them curious, and they see her trying to open a secret door leading to the basement. It makes sense because she knows the contents of the Park family's house. She then screams, calling for her husband. It turns out that the house has an old bunker beneath the basement. The housekeeper has been hiding her husband there for 4 years, 3 months, and 17 days because he has a mental disorder and needed to be hidden in the old bunker. Many luxurious houses in Korea have bunkers as a precaution against attacks from North Korea. The housekeeper and her husband, who are poor, homeless, and in debt, plead with Ki-woo's mother, Chung-suk, to keep their secret and allow them to stay in the bunker. However, Ki-jung and her father, Ki-taek, overhear this and accidentally fall down the stairs. The former housekeeper manages to take a photo of them, realizing that the Kim family are imposters. She threatens to send the photo to the Parks, which turns the situation around, and eventually, the housekeeper and her husband relax upstairs while the Kim family can only watch helplessly. But being clever, they attack the couple and take the housekeeper's phone, regaining control of the situation. Later, Mrs. Park calls to inform them that they will return home early due to bad weather, interrupting their camping trip, and asks Chung-suk to prepare ramdon and sirloin. The Kims hurriedly clean the house and take the couple to the underground bunker, while Chung-suk prepares the meal. When the Park family arrives home, it causes a panic. The father, Ki-taek, sees that the housekeeper's husband has been manually signaling lights from the bunker, sending Morse code messages of gratitude to Mr. Park for providing shelter and food. Mrs. Park recounts an incident when Da-song, in first grade, saw a ghost in the kitchen, which turned out to be the housekeeper's husband emerging from the bunker, when he thought it was safe. Ki-taek and Ki-woo hide under a table, but Da-song, still wanting to camp, forces Mrs. Park and Mr. Park to sleep in the living room, right where they are hiding. The Kims attempt to escape and successfully leave the garage. They return home to find their house flooded due to heavy rain. They salvage some valuable belongings and take refuge in a gymnasium. Ki-taek, feeling hopeless, and Ki-woo, feeling guilty, apologizes to his father. In the morning, Mrs. Park calls Ki-jung to invite her to Da-song's birthday party, and Da-hae also invites Ki-woo. Ki-taek accompanies Mrs. Park to prepare for the event. During the party, Da-hae and Ki-woo are in a room, but Ki-woo is planning to kill the housekeeper and her husband in the underground bunker. Ki-taek, increasingly frustrated with the Park family, especially Mr. Park. Ki-woo descends with a blank expression, carrying the lucky rock, and enters the bunker. The stone Ki-woo carries falls down the stairs first. The housekeeper's husband chases Ki-woo and hits him with the stone. Ki-woo is dying from the attack. The psychopath then takes a knife, approaches everyone, and stabs Ki-jung, causing chaos at the event. People run in panic. Mr. Park, indifferent to Ki-jung's plight, asks Ki-taek for the car keys. Then Chung-suk manages to stab the psychopath, stopping him. But in a fit of rage, Ki-taek stabs Mr. Park, killing him on the spot. In panic, he then flees the scene. After the incident, Ki-woo, who has regained consciousness, is interrogated by the police, but only laughs at the situation. His mother is tried in court for fraud against the Park family, and luckily receives probation. And it turns out that Ki-jung dies after being taken to the hospital due to severe bleeding. Ki-woo, who has just had brain surgery, can only smile during Ki-jung's cremation. They return to their old apartment. Ki-woo repeats news about his father, who is now wanted by the police. He tries to find his missing father and gets clues from the Morse code signals from the Park house. After the incident, his father stays in the underground bunker, hiding for a while. He had buried the housekeeper he killed some time ago. His father can only steal food from upstairs to survive. Ki-woo plans to free his father from the bunker. The scene then changes. The wealthy Ki-woo buys the Park family's house, allowing his father to be free from the bunker. But it is later revealed this is just Ki-woo's imagination. And the movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.